Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's MicheleMarieDalene, and yes, it is a Tuesday morning, and of course, we all know that it's still going to be a hot one today. Maybe a little bit cooler than yesterday, but not by a heck of a lot. So I just thought we would kind of get caught up with everything here. For one, we have got the situation fixed with the I'm going to check something here right now. It shows the restream chat is on. Yes, it is. Okay. So fade it back in here. And let's see. Yes, I do see chat's coming on. Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. And we have a topic that we covered last week for this show. And that is, what if? What if by some strange incident, your whole life changed? And make it easy to make the transition a little less stressful. You went to bed in your what you know in your home with your normal bedmates. In my case, a cat, not me. And your normal time period, in my case, 2021. And the next day, you wake up in a completely new place with a completely new face, completely new bedmate, completely new time period. How do you adapt? What do you do? I know that sounds kind of like a strange idea, but it's a great question because given the fact that science is finding out more and more about time, what they call time lapses or time slips, we're starting to wonder if it may actually happen, that maybe one day it could happen to you. How you doing, Monica? Let me get the panel open. I forgot to turn that on. Yes, the panel. Get that up. Okay. Turn on the closed captions. So that's the gist of it. Is what happens. How do you adapt to the changes of being in a whole new place, whole new time, whole new culture, even? I think, my bigger boy. I think for me, I think initially it would probably be a little bit panicky. Let me give an example where I wouldn't mind waking up. I wouldn't mind, and I guess it's obvious, is a blood elf, or aka Cinderai, with Jovia next to me in bed. Nothing wrong with Lumi, of course. Hey. In Silvermoon City, Azeroth. I don't know what the time period would be. Maybe a little more modern, where modern technology is starting to kind of show up in Azeroth. I think that would be very interesting. Good morning. How you doing? So I guess that's the question. I'd love to hear your stories. So if you want to type your stories in the chat here, or if Monica or other mods want to come on the panel too, that'd be fun too. I'd love to hear your stories. Carolyn says, what if I spilled coffee on my phone right where the charger is? Yeah. What's the Wi-Fi speed in Azeroth? Well, here's the thing. Azeroth is just, depending on which time period you're getting into, is just starting to get internet to pre-internet. So there may not be internet unless you got a person that happens to be a mage, or maybe one of the gnomes or technology people to design an internet connection. Waking up in a strange role of circumstance. There you go. That's saying it pretty quick. In other words, you're a whole new person. In other words, you went to bed, for this example, you went to bed as Michelle. For example, you went to bed with your kid on your bed. You went to bed in the 21st century on Earth. You and then you wake up, and then even if it's not even, it could even be on another, it could even be on the same planet. Actually, what happened then? Let's see, you woke up in say 19th century at the same location. So much the time changed, but nothing else did. Oh yeah, your name is probably different, and you probably look different. For example, what if you were a girl and you woke up as a boy? How would you adapt to that? In other words, you went to bed as a female, and the next thing you know, wake up as a boy, a man. In the next life. I mean, I don't know how I would adapt to that one. I think that would be a little bit of a struggle for me. I'm planning a time slip topic UFO. Yeah, that's the time slip. We probably will cover that maybe tomorrow. But I kept mentioning this one so much. I just would love to hear your story on it. Okay, Monica wants to join us. Let's get her up on the panel. Good morning.
Good morning.
So anyway,
did you finish your story? You just said how you'd like to wake up, but what if you woke up and, like you said, exactly where you are now, but 200 years ago?
Right, yeah.
We know Connecticut existed then. What would you do?
Well, given where Connecticut is, 200 years ago, this would have been a big, giant forested area.
Yeah, you'd probably woke up on the ground under a tree or something, huh?
So I wouldn't actually be laying in my bed. I'd probably be laying in a forest glade.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky no other unwanted pests like carpenter ants or black ants crawling all over you, which would be the least of your problems. At least in Connecticut, we don't have fire ants on a regular basis. But how would you do with it? I mean, any time zone. I mean, any kind of period. I mean, you wake up, you're a completely different person. Situation is completely different. You're in an all new environment. You have no experience with what you're doing. Worse comes worse. What if you couldn't even speak the language of the natives?
Yeah. You'd have to, and you could go, there was a movie that was out when I was younger, Enemy Mine. And they had to learn to communicate with each other because they were stuck. They both were enemies. They had been, an alien and a human had been fighting in a spacecraft and, starships, like a dogfight.
Yeah.
And they had crashed in the same place and had to try to survive to help each other. It's pretty cool. You learn to communicate. You have to.
Isn't that sound a little bit like a Star Trek old series episode with Kirk and Gorn? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But they tried to kill each other. But yes, I remember that one too.
And the only thing they had was the universal translator. It's the only thing they had.
Yep.
Because the Metrons put him under the test, and then Kirk finally in the end says, "I will not kill him."
Yep.
Look, let me add to that a bit. He's the same as me. It's just another man trying to make a living in his life. I have no faults against this individual. So the Metrons didn't get a chance to see the bloodbath they wanted to see.
I had no idea you were such a Trekkie, Michelle. I love it.
Yeah.
We could do a Star Trek day. We could do a Star Wars day. Oh, but see, you and I would, and a War Warcraft day. You and I would love all that.
I never really watched much Star Wars.
See, I would. What was that?
I said I don't know much about Star Wars because I never really got into Star Wars. But I did get into Battlestar Galactica, though.
Yeah, I liked Battlestar Galactica, the old series.
The original Battlestar Galactica, the new one. Yeah, no one didn't really impress me. I mean, the
knew when they took too many
Cylons as physically
liberties.
human beings. Oh wow, you
Yeah,
know.
I thought they took too many liberties. But if I was to wake up in a strange world, if I could pick, like you said, you'd like to be a Sindarin, I would just like to be healthy and wealthy, and maybe wake up in bed with Viggo Mortensen.
Be happy, be
That'd be
healthy.
okay. Yeah, be happy and be healthy, have money, and have Viggo Mortensen.
Oh,
For
what if
fun.
you didn't have money? What if you were rich and you ended up being in your new world? You're poor as a church mouse.
That would be a hard adaptation too. Yeah, or going back in time where your money is worthless.
Yeah. Right. I mean, after all, if there's no United States, Federal Reserve notes, say like before 1910, do you think a whole bunch of paper money from 2021 is going to be any good? No.
Yeah, no. Hey, Carolyn, so you got your phone dried out with a paintbrush and a pipe cleaner. That's really good. I just stuck it in rice.
Rice doesn't do good for long term. Best thing to do is to stick it into a low temperature convection oven, like about 150 degrees Fahrenheit.
Like a toaster oven?
Yeah, well, a very low temperature one. You know, like about
Oh, okay.
150
That's why you say
degrees
convection, because
Fahrenheit.
it's air.
So maybe a
That's why you
regular
say
oven would
convection,
work. You know,
because it blows air around. Right.
you know,
Okay, that makes
most
sense.
modern gas ovens don't have pilots, but if yours has a pilot, your oven is always going to warm anyway. You know, so but you don't want to set the heat too high because then you'll melt the solder and everything else. But ideally, you should go ahead and send it to Rossman Repair because that's what he does. He fixes phones that are water damaged.
Yeah, there's a guy who has a couple of chain stores around here called You Break, I Fix. And he fixes everything from screens to water damaged equipment.
I never heard of that chain, but you know,
I think it's local. I think it's in Utah only.
Okay. It's not like to start. Of course, if you got water in your phone, you can always basically put it out in the desert sun for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I guess I could just put it in my backyard, huh?
The only thing is, you got to take the battery out because once water gets into the phone, especially when phones that don't have removable batteries, it's hard to fix them because the battery is always going to be sending electricity through the phone, and it's going to start corroding everything.
I've heard with the new batteries too, you have to let them drain and reset their charging pattern, or they will go bad.
I don't know about that, but I know that when you change the battery in the MacBook, or maybe even on the old iPhone, maybe the new ones too, because it has to, the computer has to kind of get to know the battery's conditions to deal with the charging. So, like they say,
yeah, that's what I've heard about.
When you put a new battery in a new Mac Pro, I mean, I don't know what the newer ones in the 2010, but our MacBooks, I'll say 2010 because I did study this. Mm-hmm. What you do is after your battery is supposedly charged, just unplug the charger and let the battery die. And the reason is that way the controller chip inside the battery and the computer get kind of synchronized about the battery state. But that's getting off the story. Oh, well, what if that was part of the story? Let's say you had let's say you fall asleep with your laptop on your chest, and you happen to wake up and the laptop's still there, but you're still in a new place. In other words, like just imagine some magical fairy took you in a gurney and basically picked you up and dropped you from another place with your laptop still in your chest. And there's no internet. There's no power outlet. And your battery's near dead.
Well, you wouldn't be able to use it if there's no internet, no power outlet. My laptop battery's only good for 45 minutes.
Yeah. That'd be good for 45 minutes, but there's no internet. So what you can do is maybe just leave a little journal entry. I'm screwed.
Hello, yeah. Final captain's log journal entry. I'm screwed.
I do admit though, if I woke up in Silvermoon, it would be very interesting because
You'd be in heaven, Michelle. You would. Let's admit it. You'd be in heaven.
yeah, especially if I
You would
had someone
be.
like Jovia laying next to me on the bed.
Yep.
Yeah, that big round purple bed, like the one behind me.
Yep.
I'm still trying to figure out the wall patterns and the wallpaper in this room. It mystifies me because I don't understand where the symmetry is or even where the pattern repeats.
Yeah.
I
I
would
was
hate
looking
to
at
be a
that too.
painter in Silvermoon, that's for sure.
Can you say in one of the videos I watched, you were doing a Sims, and you were while you were building, you were talking to your chat, and you said that you saw somebody on Sims somewhere recreating something from World of Warcraft.
Yeah, there were some creations from World of Warcraft, like the artwork and some of the models, like the hair, the ears. But I couldn't get them worked properly with Sims 3. I got them in Sims 4, but I don't have them in Sims 3 because the Sims 3 package just totally crashed my Sims.
Oh,
So how you doing, Krill? Wow, I gotta get caught up here. I've adapted many things. Yeah, but I mean, that's a sudden change. You know, you're talking about going from living in a place with electricity and indoor plumbing to
you don't
working
know
in a
where you are.
place
Yeah.
where I don't know if they have indoor plumbing, but I'm sure they do because they have fountains. So they must have pipes.
Yeah, where you landed, but what about where, I landed? I'm not going to go into the future though, or the past. I'm just going to wake up healthy, happy, and with Viggo Mortensen in my bed.
Well, what's another thing? What if you woke up happy and healthy, but as I said, you were a completely different person physically?
Yeah.
Let's say you woke up and maybe as a Pacific Islander.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
That's
now
true.
you're
Or in
not.
yeah.
Now you're not the person that went to bed. You know, the older
Somebody
person you
totally
are,
different.
and the next thing you know, when you wake up and you're like, "Whoa,
Totally different life.
different
Yeah,
life."
totally different food.
Kind of makes you feel like the
Different
song
food
from Johnny
preparation.
Rivers, right? Secret Asian Man.
Yeah.
Secret Agent
Hey.
Man. Secret Agent Man. They've taken away your name. They're giving you a number and taking away your name. You know, of course, that song is
The
based
Born
on,
Identity.
but but he's still basically in the song. Secret Agent Man is still kind of, still living in the same time period. But there
Yeah.
used to be on Fox a TV show called 7 Days, which is a time travel story where this guy can go back in period for 7 days at a time. He was supposed to be the kind of guy that fixed time issues.
Okay. Like Quantum Leap, but with a time limit.
Yeah, well, he has to get it all done in 7 days or he dies.
No, Johnny, I'll be here tomorrow. You're welcome to stay, but if that makes you leave, then we're sorry to see you go.
We're still alive, and I hear Monica. Well, because Monica's here on the other panel.
Yeah.
All right, Rusty, come on. You're hot. I'm hot. Okay, don't make me suffer. Yeah, I should turn the fan on a little bit higher notch. Let me turn this fan up a tiny notch.
See, Krell came up with an idea
here, but not as bad as it was before. But
would you be a philosopher, Krell, or would you be a mathematician, or would you be like a storyteller?
What if, in addition to a different place, obviously you woke up to different weather? I mean,
well, Krell has.
Where
Krell has
like you
put
want
in
to
his
sleep
idea.
in December when it's snowing, and the next thing you know, you wake up in a colossal heat wave, and there's no air conditioning, there's no window fan, there's no nothing.
Ugh. I would hate that. Krell had a good idea. He said that he'd be reincarnated in ancient Greece. He would tend a grape vineyard while he thought of cool ideas in his free time. And I asked him, would you be a philosopher, a mathematician, maybe a storyteller? He said he'd be a grape-growing philosopher for sure. Thank you for on Krell. This is the point. We want the group to get involved. Talk to us. Michelle will read them. It doesn't have to be me, Johnny.
Well, I mean, either way is, it's still, I mean, I don't necessarily know if I would totally be able to, like, totally just wake up and just, go out there and act like it's no big deal. I think I would have to adapt, especially if you're dealing with a foreign language. You're like,
yeah,
I don't speak Thalassian. I'm like, so if Joby starts saying sweet nothings to me in Thalassian, I would never know what she was saying. As far as I could hear, she could be saying, "Flip over, you're snoring."
Yeah. Dude, go use some mouthwash.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I mean,
or where's the coffee?
Or worse, where's the bathroom? As after all, I don't even see any bathrooms in Silvermoon at all. I don't even see porta potties.
I have a question, Krell. Why would you oh, there you go. Maybe you learn the language when you become the other person. That's true. My question for you, Krell, is why did you pick ancient Greece?
Yeah, why did you like
Just curious.
Why Greece? Greece is the word that you heard. Get moves, get feelings. Do. That's the beginning of Greece. But I'm sure that if you listen to Eastern Grecians, they probably would agree with this song.
Maybe
the Greece. Maybe GRE.
Hi, Rusty.
Is the one who invented GREASE.
Yeah, maybe you learn the language when you wake up the other person. I asked when I was in junior high school, my French teacher was from Portugal, and she spoke English, French, German, and Portuguese. And I asked her, I said, well, what language do you think in? And she thinks in her native Portuguese. Right. So everything she says, she translates.
Right. That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon.
I know, but I couldn't even imagine it. I mean, I guess I got a little taste of it when I was learning French.
So you took some French in school?
Yeah, not much. I can say Je m'appelle Monica.
I took some Italian, so. Anyway, the point is
Greece.
I think the hardest thing that I can read Italian pretty well, but writing and saying it, sentences in it, in situ is like, oh, I'm screwed.
Krill answered our question about Greece, Michelle.
Why did he choose Greece? He says Greece had it figured out, how lots of stuff before science and academics determined to discover it first. Well, that's true. I mean, Archimedes discovered water displacement. And of course, Hieron, which wasn't Greek, but I'll put him in the same period.
On the Wire has participated too.
He was very creative. He created the first steam turbine, and he didn't realize it. He originally created it as like a little trinket. His steam turbine thing. What if they had actually happens of Hieron that said, hey, you know what? This is energy. This makes rotational force. Why couldn't I take this rotational force to make things move, like chariots, or maybe come up with some way to like clean the house or something, or clean the tables or dishes. Maybe even make a tumble dryer. I.e., you put water in the kettle and you basically put a fire underneath it. Not only does the fire heat the box itself where the clothes are in, but then when the thing starts spinning, it turns the drum and then everything just dries. And I'll think about it. I mean, these guys are smart. I mean, but he didn't do it. He could have the very first steam engine doing actual productive work. He also came up with the most automated puppet theater setup, which would take care of everything from the animatronics to the little scenery changes, all done by clockwork. It's really amazing to think about that.
It is. It's an ancient Greek guy, I guess. Out on the Wire has got a statement in there too about what he would choose, and I'd like to know, why would you choose that?
Yeah.
And I agree, Krill.
Well, steam power is legit. Trust me. If you ever watched this old time steam workshop with Richard, what was his last name? He has a metal shop. He runs almost everything off of steam power, as it would be in 1925. Every one of his metalworking machines runs on a steam engine, and with big pulleys and belts and everything. And it's really fun to watch it. If you don't know the channel, I will put it up here. I'll have to look it up for you. But it's really, really cool because it's like only thing he has to do is put wood, or occasionally when he doesn't have much wood, he puts coal into the boiler, and he's getting energy to drive everything in the shop from one steam boiler and one steam engine. Runs the whole shop. Now we realize Heron, if he had discovered the same idea, he could have had belts and pulleys. The industrial age could have started thousands of years earlier than it did. We already gave James Watt credit for creating the steam engine, but this guy could have been the first steam engine. We could be talking about Heron steam turbines, Be around for the birth of rock and roll, beginning in America, cars. But what world wasn't so new? Think about it out on the wire. I mean, we don't have much musical information from early history, except some of the more complicated pieces. But what if somebody, as I said, invented? I mean, I could just visualize Heron or Archimedes or one of these early guys coming up with the first equivalent of an electric guitar. I mean, sure, it wouldn't be amplified, but I mean, I'm sure that they would realize with strings and materials that they could make the nice loud twanger, And then, of course, imagine if they did discover electricity, like some of the people say that ancient Egypt actually had electricity in the tombs. Wow, think about it. What if somebody came up with the first transistor or the first vacuum tube 2,000 years before we had them now? And they didn't lose that technology. We wouldn't be buying radios from, China as much. We'd be buying radios from some other country. Maybe even Egypt or Greece. I'm doing okay. How are you? As you also know, in the Baghdad battery, even though it is a little bit of a weak power source, put enough of them together and you could power something. It'll be bulky for some applications, but the problem with the Baghdad battery is it turns out the current output is pretty low. It's not a lot of current. It might run your typical LCD watch, but still, that would be before Alexandra Volta created his pile.
But I agree with that on the wire. It would still be cool to be there for that, to see Elvis when he first came out, to experience the craze of that, and all the cool vehicles that came out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about the 50s, but I know that I've seen a lot of houses decorated in the 50s motifs. For example, the very earliest home dishwashers were a top loader. I found that out watching YouTube. The very first dishwashers that came in for home use were actually top loaders for dishes.
Really?
Yeah, they had racks just like they do now, but you would put them into the dishes in the rack, and you place the rack into this tub. And I think it was I forget which company that came up with it, but it was one of the early dishwashers for home use, and was attached to its own sink. The sink, I guess, was, well, we need water anyway, so might as well put a sink next to it so you could rinse the plates off. Just amazing to think about how they're saying, and this new technology will mean that the housewife will have less time to worry about doing the drudgery of washing plates. I mean, in the 1950s, we didn't have microwaves. We didn't have very many frozen food choices. In fact, in the early 1950s, the refrigerators in the U.S. were tiny. There were ice boxes, and they held maybe a gallon of milk and maybe a pound of butter and a few fruits and vegetables, and that was it. Because there just wasn't a really need for stocking up tons of food. Back then, it was, especially in the urban environment, it was just like in the UK, in London. You would buy the food you need for the week, and then you would just restock as needed. You didn't do what you do now and buy in bulk, hundreds of bags of food.
And freeze your hamburger for 6 months because it's good for that long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, they used to call it an ice box because it literally had ice in it to keep everything cold.
Yeah.
There was a special place in the fridge to put that.
And there was always the milkman and the iceman to make sure that you had plenty of ice and milk on hand.
This has led to some interesting discussions in chat, Michelle. Awesome. I'm glad we did this. See how it can morph into different things? I told you it's fun. And everybody will get to see how intelligent you are.
Aliens built the pyramids because, well, obviously ancient people had the technologies. Yeah, we don't. I mean, the thing is just that's another thing. Though maybe they got help from ETs that gave them some of the knowledge. I don't think it's necessarily impossible, but after all, they were lifting heavy blocks of sandstone.
Look, even before the pyramids, the ancient Saxons, the Druids, they made Stonehenge.
Yeah.
With no help. Rocks that came from really far away.
Right. So one of the proposals for that is the same as if they use a type of limitation technology.
I heard they used rivers and wood, like rollers, but yeah, they could have had help from the ETs, but it's still amazing to think about. Maybe they did have technology that's become lost over time.
Yeah. I want a percussion. Oh, melody came from that, probably percussion. Yeah, well, drums were an important form of communication back, even in Africa. I mean, it was the most powerful way to get a message over a great distance was with a great drum pounding along, So a drummer has a long history. His predecessors were using the drums in the jungles to send a message to other drummers would listen to and hear that message and give it to the people in their language. So that's how they would tell things like things of warning or danger, storms, and animal ambush, whatever, things like that. Because the drums had the deeper beat so they could go further.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true, yes. Piano is pretty much a percussion instrument. But it's
really?
actually
a piano? Oh, I guess so, because the hammers hit the strings, huh?
Yeah. Actually, one guy in Sweden actually put real metal hammers on the piano.
Really?
And it sounded really cool. Real metal hammers on a piano. I mean, there were small little tack hammers, but still, imagine 88 little tack hammers slamming the strings with force. Bang, bang, bang. Especially the big ones. Bang. they would just hit the strings and made a note that sounded very different than the typical, as he calls them, piano slappers. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle's Amazon wish list. Check it out.
Yep.
And don't forget that the harp is an instrument that came. A lot of string instruments used to use catgut. No, catgut doesn't come from cats. Cat's guts. It comes from sheep's guts. Okay.
Really?
So strings were not metal all the time. They came later. So a lot of strings in early instruments were made out of catgut. So things like the harp and the lyre and guitars were using catgut strings.
Wow. So the troubadours that wandered from town to town in the Middle Ages were singing with that. I didn't know that. Like Bubba says, learn something. We used to learn something new on Michelle's shows all the time. See, and we're back to that. That's what I like.
And you still can get catgut strings today. People still put them on their instruments.
Does it sound a lot different? Is it a better sound?
It does have a more of a natural sound. It doesn't have the metallic twang to it. It's and a Baroque violin. It sounds really cool. The only problem with catgut is it's very sensitive to humidity. So right now,
I was gonna.
If I put catgut strings on a violin during this time of the weather and I had it tuned just right, it would sound good right now. But if I was to play the instrument, say in 2 weeks, it'd probably sound like it needs to be retuned again. Sometimes the violinist had to retune the strings within the same show.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My grandpa played the fiddle.
Okay. He probably used steel strings on his.
Yeah. Yep, he did. But he played by ear. He was amazing. He could hear something and go play it.
Well, the fiddle is basically a violin. It's just another name for it.
Yeah, they just play it different. They play it a little faster.
They play it faster. Yeah. I'm one of the cool fiddle because they're always fiddling. Fiddling around with the thing.
I don't know.
Maybe
I thought you would know. That's why I brought it up.
I wanted to get a violin. I wanted to get a small, full-size 4/4. So I could try doing some playing around by ear too. Unfortunately, it doesn't help any that I'm tone deaf, which, as Bubba pointed out to me, said, your equalization, your turntable, still not right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Even if it does potentially have the ability to send dogs howling and little cockroaches scurrying away. Well, in the case of the second one, you kind of want away, that, right? Get away from my record collection.
Away, yeah.
Or I'm going to put Bonnie Tyler on.
Our sir out on the wire is a musician.
Yeah.
And he sounds like he's a true magician, not just one that did it for the girls. Like he really gets into it.
Baby hearing music, the baby instincts to clap beats are both into us all. Yes, yeah, I agree. And I happen to be heavily into music ever since I was a very young person because my father was into music. My father was in the country western, and he even tried to learn how to play a home organ. He had organ books. He had an accordion. He told me he won an accordion in a bet. Well, it didn't matter. Me and my sister basically played that sucker. Even if it meant basically because we were so small, we both had to basically grab one end and squeeze it together and pull it apart together and squeeze it together and then hit the keys and on the chords on the other side. It was just interesting.
Oh, God on the wire. You did do it for the girls.
Yeah. Oh, I did it for the girls. The girls didn't come with.
I've got a daughter who's dating a jazz bass guitarist and a prog rock. He's in two bands, a prog rock band and a jazz band. He plays bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, "Oh, Jesse, don't."
Is he like DB504, constantly bragging about that's not bass? You
No,
know,
no, he's not like that. He's a pretty good kid. He got a head on his shoulders. He has a full-time job and, does what he's supposed to do, pays his bills, lives on his own. But he really wants to be a musician, so he does do gigs and things.
Right. Well, I mean, like I said, if I got a violin, it'll be more for making happy noises, I think, than anything. And if don't ask me to do a concerto for you, because I'm probably sorry something you don't want to hear. After all, people study violin for decades, and some of them, even after decades of practice, still can't get it right.
I tried it in grade school. I couldn't. I think I was too young.
You know what it is because most violins don't have frets on the fretboard. I said most because you can actually add frets to a violin. They also have something called fretless guitars as well.
Mm-hmm.
That is, there is no frets in the guitar board. It's just smooth. And then, like on the violin, so finding your chords must be a real pain. Literally.
Yeah, it probably is.
I mean, your seventh isn't going to sound the same one day from the next because your fingers might end up sliding in the wrong place and almost go, oh no, man, I missed that note. That's okay. There's no buttons on it to tell you exactly on your A seventh major. You're gonna know. Like a piano, at least if kept properly tuned, every key you press, every time you press the C, middle C is gonna sound like middle C. Or it's gonna sound, or if you hit the A key at the first, middle A, it's gonna sound like a 880 hertz tone consistently. On a violin, your strings can, especially if you're playing with catgut, is gonna change with humidity. So play your A string one session is gonna make sound a bit different than the A string the next session.
Yeah. Sometimes the more you use it, you have to retune it too. I know that.
I think performance and bravado can trump technical skill in rock or punk. I think one of the things people don't have to realize with musicians is back, especially before synthetic materials, that they had to basically adapt to everything, constantly being a variation. For example, like your strings can stretch and your instrument can warp, and even if you have a brass instrument like a trombone or a clarinet, what's the other thing? Bugle. Why not? Just mention a bugle, or even a trumpet. You're still dealing with, for example, maybe your lips are dry. Maybe you got a canker sore. So all of a sudden now your notes start sounding different than they would normally sound because of your, the situation changes. Musicians have to adapt because they don't have a choice. So this wondering, it brings us back to this story. I mean, if you woke up at a different time, okay, and let's step off the musician angle, okay. Let's say you went to sleep today and you woke up in, say, 1300 Europe. Now, obviously, you can forget your electric Stratocaster or your fancy bass or even your, your famous brass instruments like the one that Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass plays. Now you're dealing with ancient instruments of those times. How would you get used to the new way of doing things? For example, would you be able to adapt to play the hurly-gurly? Would you know how to play the hurly-gurly? Which is an ancient musical instrument. I personally, I don't know. I'm not a musician, but I could just see how that could be frustrating for some people. Now, in my case, I'm interested in cooking, even though I don't do a lot of it. I still do cook once in a while, right? Same thing. Let's say you woke up. I mean, you went to bed. You had an old modern kitchen with all modern gas appliances, the best contrivances, pasta makers, whatever. You wake up in the 15th century, and all you got is a kitchen with a basic stove, a fireplace, and a couple cast iron pots. and you want to make ravioli. And then you realize that now you got to make the dough. Now you got to roll the dough with a rolling pin or something, and then you got to put the filling into the dough, and then you got to boil the water on an open earth fire. That's assuming hoping you have sauce, which if you're lucky, maybe somebody prior to you made a couple, maybe made some spaghetti sauce or something, which would take days to make. To make a good sauce, it usually takes about half a day to cook good sauce. Spaghetti sauce is really tricky because if you cook it too long, you're going to burn the living bejesus out of it. And we're talking about here about a wood hearth fire. How in the heck would you maintain a proper heat for making a homemade spaghetti sauce if you don't have the convenience of an electric stove with thermostatically controlled knobs?
Yeah, and they did it. Some of the best recipes were.
Yeah. I mean, sure, an
Invented
experienced
then.
cook like someone like Alton Brown would figure out how to do that, Well, you just have to know how to bank the fire. Okay, that's great. But where do you start? I mean, same thing with the oven. I mean, look at a wood-fired oven. How do you know how hot it is? Well, you're putting, how much wood do you put in to decide to bake a cake at 350 degrees?
Yeah, but they knew, didn't they? But we wouldn't if we went back there.
How you doing, Cheryl? That's made to be portable. Right.
He was talking about brass musical instruments.
They're meant to be portable so you can hear them and they're loud. And you're right. Don't forget the trumpets were used also for fanfares and for calling, and also for military use because they travel a long way, sound-wise. Thus, all the bugle calls you hear in the military use bugle calls because bugles are brass instruments that have no buttons at all.
Yeah.
I don't even know how in heaven's name you can play reveille on that because it's like there's no way to easily change the notes on a bugle. A bugle is just one set of pipe. There's no buttons. There's no 3 buttons to change the sound.
But they do it.
Yeah.
How do they do it?
But they still do it today.
Yeah, how? That's amazing. I would like to learn how.
Yeah. So how many people are right now? I haven't even checked.
We got 7. We've had as many as 8, I think 11 at one point.
We got 10 right now, actually.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, but the point is this is really just such a fascinating piece of a question that you could springboard into so many different areas.
We already have.
Well, what you're doing now, and you woke up in this new world, you didn't have access to the internet. What happens if you didn't have access to a cell phone? What if you didn't have access to any kind of phone? How would you reach out to people, reach out and touch someone? You literally would have to reach out and physically touch someone. You would have to travel to them, or they would have to travel to you. Now, we're talking about going into the past, but what if you went into the future? Remember time slip episode? We're going to cover that in more detail, but we'll bring it up here. Let's say, for example,
smoke signals.
You went to sleep like tonight, and you woke up and say 2050. Now, obviously, 2050 is probably more likely going to be more advanced than 2021. How would you adapt to the new change in technology? I know for a lot of older people, they haven't adapted because they're still kind of thinking in their, technology mindset from when they were in their 30s. I'm talking about like the elderly people. All of a sudden they see these little cell phones or little movies playing and people sending messages by typing on glass of all things. And they're going, how does that work? Oh, don't ask me to explain it because I can't quite. Just to say it does. But those same people, you look at the things that they were doing. For example, messing around with fuel injected engines, and for example, if you were a mechanic and carburetors and points and condensers, and the next thing you know, you're doing electronic fuel systems with automatic ignition system, dwell timing controllers, everything, where a computer does all the work. I want you to adapt your skills as a mechanic, growing up, say, born in 1950, and now all of a sudden you're dealing with cars that basically do everything, including put out the red carpet when you get into it.
Yeah, well, that's coming.
Yeah.
That Tesla car is the beginning of it.
And one day it's going to come. It already is. They already get cars that are like smart enough that you can get in and just go right to the infotainment screen and say, go to the nearest McDonald's, and all of a sudden the car drives there. You don't even have to even really drive. You're just there just to keep an eye on the machine.
Yep.
I mean, some would say the same thing is true with housewives. I mean, today, the dishwasher does the work. She doesn't. She doesn't have to even do much. She loads them in. She closes the door. Your typical home dishwasher takes about an hour to wash her dishes. And then she's done. So what does she do for that hour? Depends. Maybe she's vacuuming. But now we have Roombas. You don't even have to vacuum anymore. And basically all you do
That'd
is
be
just
a great topic for another
press the button,
too.
and all of a sudden you're in the vacuum does all the work for you. So what do you do with all that extra time?
Yeah.
Watch YouTube.
I still wash dishes by hand. Myself.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's no doubt about that.
Okay. Hey, Michelle, Skynet has an interesting one. He says, what do you think the internet will be like in 20 years? Or what do you think, what kind of new tech will we be using in 20 years?
I think it will all have integrated into our brain, probably like a Borg. They'll probably just implant, a transceiver into your brain, and you would have a SIM chip or something equivalent to a SIM chip, and everybody would have an ID, and everybody would just basically be able to just internet everything without even using an external device like a phone or a tablet. Would be wired directly in. I think that's where it's coming to. Now, for people that have multiple functional disabilities, that could be a godsend, because now you don't have to try to read the screen. Already, Skynet. Yeah.
But you know what? That's probably true. I was thinking the same thing. You'd have a chip on your finger, so instead of having a credit card, you just scan your finger.
Yeah. Oh yeah, biometrics is the technology that's evolved a lot.
It's already coming. Yeah, it already is. I mean, look at my phone.
Even my iPhone 8 has a touch fingerprint sensor. I don't have it enabled, but some do. I mean, the point is,
yeah, my phone does.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't really see a reason to enable the biometrics, because, first of all, trust me, if you get my phone, it's probably after I'm long gone. Who else is sick of remembering passwords? Well,
yeah,
we got apps for that already. Even Google has a pretty good password manager.
Biometrics makes it so you don't have to remember passwords. It's pretty cool. Things what he's saying.
You do know that sensor, you can be using it more than just your thumb on it.
Out on the wire.
For example,
that was funny. If the chip gets declined, you just smash your finger on the counter in disgust.
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine, if you will, like, the phone's always falling in my face. Well, I will use my phone as a thumbprint. And my nose is a thumbprint.
Yeah.
Some people use other parts of the body that I will not mention here.
No, we won't talk about that. Or someone chops off your finger, Charlotte.
Yeah, well, the thing with the idea of brain implant. There's one question that's got to have to come up, which is how are you going to keep the thing fed power? How to get power from the blood? They'd have to have some kind of a fuel cell.
She's just not going to give you an example.
Yeah.
Skynet wants an example of another body part, so just let her nose suffice as the example that she would use as a fingerprint option.
So goes into a wild spinning spree. So I mean, clearly, one of the things obvious is that we already know, for example, people who have diabetes don't notice. But did you ever notice that those little test strips inside are actually a form of little miniature fuel cells? They take the blood, they measure the blood sugar, and blood sugar generates a small electric current, i.e. small. And then the blood monitor, glucose monitor reads the voltage off the tiny little sample slide. That's what it is. It just amplifies it big enough, strong enough that you could read it on an LCD screen. So what the test strip does is that when you put the drop of blood on it, it actually generates electricity. It's not very much, but
yeah. You could also get power by motion, just like watches that wind up with movement nowadays. Yeah, I bet you could.
So imagine, if you will, such a bionic implant that basically would get power off the blood, for fuel. And then, of course, as it uses energy, it makes waste. The waste goes out into the blood, which gets passed out by the kidneys. It's like normal cellular waste. Have you ever seen those hoverboards that people have been using? No, I haven't. But I mean,
they're like drones with a board on top that you can stand on.
You know that Back to the Future was talking about that, right? Or like a hacksmith created for one of his employees the self-lacing shoes for one of his employees. Couldn't really get bothered to tie their shoelaces, so he came up with a way to self-lace your sneakers.
I'll ask Skynet. Skynet wants to know if you'll turn on the phone so just he can call you. I don't think you need to put the number on the screen. I think he knows it by heart. That's up to you.
I don't usually do this one in the morning shows because that's why the morning shows are almost always green.
Yes.
And right now we really need to work on getting those green up because we are so far behind.
It's okay. He understands. He says no problem, Michelle. He gets it.
But we'll be on Saturday night. We'll take some phone calls on Saturday.
Just so you know, Skynet isn't usually the one that was causing you problems on the calls.
Okay.
You flying over NYC and falling and hitting a car. Yeah. Oh, gee, that'd be bad. So does somebody else have to control it, or do you control it while you're standing on the board?
I think you have control, but the problem is that you're sitting on something that's very, very small and very teeter-tottery, and one mismove and the next thing you know it, you get thrown off your board and that's it. You're down. I suppose that some people would enjoy that kind of technology. I would rather stay on the ground. In fact, this brings an interesting point up. Okay, talking about adaptive technology. Okay, I first of all have never ever had a power chair in my life. I probably never will have a power chair. I have ridden in power chairs. And the fact of the matter is, because I am so much dependent on my feet for everything. Even with my knee injury, I had to keep going on feet. I didn't even have a choice to go, well, these feet are done. Let's go to the power chair and be done with it. I didn't have that option because either way, I still wouldn't have been stuck lugging the sucker up 3 flights of stairs. But which is really different from a lot of people that I see as we get older, I see a lot of people more and more seeing mobility scooters running around. But the question is would you ever be able to get used to being back walking around again without one of those things? If you've gotten so used to having a mobility scooter, would you ever be able to get used to being on your feet, even if you had to use a cane or a walker or a crutch? I never really thought about it, but it's a question I do think about as we get older. And I guess it kind of ties into the what if, because this way show is called What If. Notice it doesn't say what if what, it just says what if. What if there's no longer electricity for some reason? Because we already know that the United States government is concerned because of what we've been seeing going on with all these hackings. Bringing it back to the 21st century for a minute. They said the power grid is not really protected very well. What's going to happen if one day some bad person decides to go through and sabotage all the computers that run the electric power grid, the gas power grid, the municipal water, sewer systems? I mean, it's so easy to imagine. Look what happened to JBS. Look what happened to Colonial Gasoline Pipeline. It's by somebody who just basically just wants to knock off the entire service. I don't really know if these people would be able to adapt to going back to not having electric contrivances like a power chair to get around.
Yeah, I think you'd become lazy too. I do. I think you'd your muscles could atrophy. I mean, you know.
I don't know, power. I don't think homeless Mike would necessarily come up and steal it. I think the problem would be is what happened to my friend Ron Wanklin's chair. He couldn't get it up 3 flights of stairs. He had to leave it downstairs on the ground level, and the rust and the rain got at it. Not someone stealing it. And then just the water got into the electronics and destroyed the controller and everything.
Charlotte.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that what you put on the title? Was What If? The What If show. Yes, I love it.
By the way, I explained to Ed today. I said, we're not gonna go to soup kitchen today because we've already got a full refrigerator of food. There's no room in there for more food. Seriously, it's packed.
And it's all good food. None of it's bad. Have you already gone through it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the new food, yes, it's all good. The food, some of the food that was in there was ages old, so I threw that out. So
then you're right. Save it for other people who need it and eat what you've got. I agree.
Okay.
Look, it's Andrew.
I forgot about Ed. If and when Ed gets thirsty, can he drive to Cumberland and Michelle's Power Wheels? Michelle doesn't have Power Wheels. Michelle has feet. It's like Krista pointed out, Michelle, you're more able to get things done physically on your feet than he can. He can't walk even as good as you. I said, I know that. And I said, he has the same problem I do, even worse off than me. So that's funny because when he goes in the store, he takes one of those shopping cart, Power Mart carts, and he's going to the store to pick up food. Me, I just grab a regular shopping cart and just wheel it along like a walker and grab stuff. I tried those Mart carts. I don't like them very much. I feel very uncomfortable, like I'm lost control of how I feel like I'm basically just riding around in a car, and it makes me feel like, it's not the same for me.
Yeah.
I'd rather basically propel myself. I'd rather walk around because I feel like I'm part of the process.
Andrew's here, Michelle. Make sure you say hi to Andrew too.
Hi, Andrew. How you doing?
He's watching tennis, and it's like a furnace at his house.
Okay. Oh, I know. It's hot in here too. Trust me. I got 2 window fans going. One's in a window and one is blowing right next to me right now. So getting some air breeze. It's going to be a high of 31 degrees Celsius today. Let me get the fresh report right from Siri.
Michelle, while you're looking that up, Skynet wants to know if you've ever played a driving game.
Have you ever played a what game?
A driving game where you're driving a car, like a racing game, or even like Simpsons game where you have to drive
when I was
someplace.
a kid.
When you were a kid,
I did as a kid. But the thing is I never really got into it. It's just I don't feel like I'm connected to the vehicle the same way that I would be if I was like walking or
doing it yourself,
propelling myself. Even a horse and carriage, I feel like I have a little more, connection with the horse and the carriage than I do with a motorized vehicle. Because
Carol wants to know if you have AC, and Skynet wants to know what games did you play as a kid?
Well, first of all, we got air conditioning in the bedroom. As far as what games I played as a kid, games like a lot of text adventure games, like Infocom games, like Zork 1, 2, 3, Planetful, things like that. And I did play some video games like Zaxxon and Dig Dug and things like that, Asteroids. Because back in my time, those games were pretty popular when I was a teenager.
Zork in the movie Big.
I don't know. I never saw the movie Big. I don't remember the game being played. I don't even remember the movie Big much.
Exactly, Carol.
Yeah, that's exactly what the air conditioner is in the bedroom. As right now, Ed's sleeping. Ed's taking his day sleep. Then after he's done, he wakes up. Then I'm going to go to sleep. Then occasionally I'll take a nap in the middle of the day when he's still in the bed, but it gets kind of tight.
Big was a great movie, Skynet. She should watch it. She would love it.
Which movie would that be?
The movie called Big. It was Tom Hanks. He was a little boy who went to his Zoltan machine and made a wish that he was big, and it came true. He was all of a sudden an adult. It's really funny.
Yeah. I think I remember that one, but vaguely. Just as I remember the two different versions of Freaky Friday. The original one with Jodie Foster, and then there was the other one that came out later on.
With James. Yeah, that one was funny too. They were both funny.
Yeah. Or the second one, not only was it a matter of the girl changing role with another person. The first one was her mother, and the second one it was a total stranger, and she became a man in the movie of Freaky Friday, the new one. So now she had to deal with the fact that now she had to deal with men's issues. And conversely, the man she swapped roles with, well, now he had to deal with female issues, but he took advantage of that. He exploited it for his own advantage. Which I thought was creepy, but oh well. Not particularly surprised, given the era which the remake was made that was happening, I don't remember Splash. Is that similar to H2O, just add water? Yeah, I do. It's definitely is when a person that becomes a mermaid. Yeah. It's like H2O, just add water. Yeah. Bosom buddies? Yep, I do. The mermaid, yep. Yeah, I remember Splash now. Yeah.
You would, Skynet.
And he gave the mermaid the most beautiful home environment she could have because she missed the sea. But so apparently, I guess she gave up her aquatic abilities. So he made her as comfortable as possible. I guess you could say it's like the real world version of the Little Mermaid, in the sense that she gave up her water aquatic abilities to have legs, so she could live in on land.
Joe versus the volcano.
Uncle Buck, yeah, that was funny.
And Captain Ron was very funny, Skynet.
I don't remember Captain
There
Ron.
was not a single booty. Yep.
Total
Joe
different
versus the
movie.
volcano is an unsung great.
It's versus Joe versus the volcano. I've heard about that one. I never really saw it though.
No, it wasn't really very popular, but it's a good one.
Yeah. Also watch Cave Girl. If you want to talk about really being in a really out of place situation, it relates to what if. This archaeologist ends up back in the early time of humans and Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, and oh my god, it was just totally weird. Just watch Cave Girl. It's a comedy, so don't take it literally serious. I mean, it was just totally funny. He
look,
actually
somebody
did
brought
finally.
Viggo Mortensen into chat for me. Oh,
look, someone brought Viggo. Who's Viggo? How you doing?
Viggo Mortensen was the guy I wanted to wake up with in my what if world.
Okay. Welcome to the show. Clear the Cave Beer was good. I think they talked.
It was.
I heard someone was a big fan of mine here. Dennis Hopper was so good at Waterworld. Waterworld. Yes.
That was a better movie than people think too.
That is definitely I left a lot of questions like where did all that water come from? That was a lot of water. Water everywhere. Clearly there must have been a lot of major asteroids with water asteroids coming into Earth and just melting. Along with global warming maybe. Because if the environment temperature changed, it would have been ice world. Like Hoth. So Dances with Wolves was great too. But not a job to drink. I don't know. First of all, it was all salt water, but I'm sure that there were people learning how to take the rain and filter the rain and drink that for drinking water. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. I don't remember that one too much.
Quote comes from. It's where that quote comes from, where you said water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink.
Yeah. I remember
water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink.
Right.
I don't remember the whole thing.
This was the Ancient Mariner. Okay. I didn't know where the line came from. But anyway, the point is that we read Ancient Mariner in high school, but I don't remember it very well. One thing. I'm currently researching a role where I romance a woman named Monica in a fantasy world, more like a dream that I can't leave. Well, okay.
Yeah, great. Can't wait to see it.
You know what would be interesting to do is if there was a way, I mean, you can do it on my Discord easy enough. If we had fan fiction area where we could have people upload stories. I could have it in two categories. We could have the NSFW area for those who want to get into the more mature themes and the more of a general audience, one where they could cover things that are not so raunchy, you know. And being it's a creative writing area, we could have, maybe you could even add creative illustrations to your work too. But the idea is that it would be more for creative writing. That is where you could post your link to your story that you're writing, or you can type a story right there on the screen. The only thing is the way Discord works, you can't type things much more than about 2,000 characters in a line. So that'd have to be a really short story.
I think that would be fun. I think that would be fun. I especially would love to see you put some stuff in there because you have such a natural talent for it.
Well, I think right now we could people could put the creative works in the areas we already have for the time being. So
Yeah, and then if
people
we
like
get
to
enough,
write stories, they could put like if they're fairly clean, you can put them in the Silvermoon. If they're more mature, but if they're clean, you can put them in the general area for now. Or people could do the creative fiction. You know, I would love to see how that would work. That's Rusty. I see you, cat.
we'll bring him up.
Yeah, I gotta get him on camera so you can see his big tail there. So let me get Rusty in here because he's saying it's my time. Yeah. I know it's your time. Let me just get over to here, get to the camera so you can see Rusty here. Oh.
It's time for Rusty Cam. There he is.
Sometimes I can get in the purring on the microphone, but it's kind of hard sometimes.
I've noticed in the shows that I've been reviewing, he has always been wanting to be on your show.
Yeah. Yeah, because he likes being on the show because he knows that, the show, gives him a chance to show. He definitely likes being on camera. Right?
Yeah, he does. He's always wanted to be on the show. You would show him, but not like you do now. I'm glad you do more now. He's a handsome boy.
Yeah, he's definitely an alpha male cat. That's why. Let me ham it up in the audience. Okay, you want to talk to the audience?
Say something, Rusty.
Well, he's purring. I guess that's saying something.
There you go.
I turned the microphone up on the desk so you can hear him better. Everybody likes the cat. And you wonder why my microphone's got cat hair on it. That's why.
Yeah, no duh.
Yeah.
That's exactly why. And if she leaves it that way, that's her business, Vigo.
So, let's just jump back onto the chat so I can see everything here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a big cat. Big cat. Unfortunately, Rusty, you're very warm right now. And I don't need
Oh.
I don't need a kitty space heater right now. I need a kitty air conditioner. So yeah, I mean it's for me it's like my cat has been part.
Oh, a lint roller wouldn't be a bad idea,
yeah. Right now, this windscreen is actually starting to deteriorate on this microphone. This foam screen is starting to break apart. So I'm going to have to get a new windscreen. They're not that expensive. They do wear out over a while because the materials degrades. He's still giving us a session. I'm turning up so you can hear him. No, you're not eating that microphone. All right, come on, get down for a bit.
Thanks for joining us, Rusty. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing him with us, Michelle.
All right.
We love him.
Sellotape, yeah. I found duct tape works okay. You can actually use a piece of black duct tape from Nashua and you can just blab it on the windscreen and it holds just enough to get the hair off. It doesn't super sticky where it starts grabbing the windscreen material. But the windscreen is kind of starting to break down, so eventually we'll have to get a new windscreen. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I'm not going to go to the suitcase today because it's just again. Oh, I did get my chocolate almond milk, by the way. I got the store brand because I couldn't find the name brand chocolate almond milk, but I found the store brand, and I can tell you that stuff is tasty. So I bought the Stop and Shop almond milk, chocolate almond milk.
Oh wow! I bet that's good.
Yeah.
Now, are you allergic to milk? Is that why you drink almond milk?
He does meow, but I think he realized because of my hearing that trying to get my attention by meowing is not going to do me much good. Although he has meowed at me a few times. Like, for example, when I give him fresh water out, he meows like, thank you, kind of meow. Like, I'll thank you for the water. I really appreciate it, and the food. Or if you really want something.
I've noticed my alphas don't always meow, Michelle.
Yeah. That's because I pretty much know that they're the alphas. So they already know that their needs are going to be met. It's the betas that do all the calling out, and because they're like, what about me? What about me? What about me? What about my needs? What about me? So here's one thing I would love to say. What I would do is if I woke up with real blood elf ears in my head, permanently attached to my skull, I think that would be kind of interesting. I went shopping with these ears on yesterday, and I didn't get too many looks. I mean, some people were a little bit kind of puzzled, but they're like, I think they were kind of wondering more like why I was, constantly keeping after Ed in the store, trying to make sure he hurries up because he was like, he's very pokey shopping. He's like, I got to find the best deal prices. I said, Ed, Krista's sitting in a car. It's hot.
Yep.
Can you please get going? She's gonna want to go home soon. See, normally when I'm done with Krista, I'm usually done by 12.
Yeah,
but
you usually are.
He took so much time in Stop and Shop. I almost swear to God, I thought we weren't going to get home, but within a reasonable period of time. Yeah, just like In and Out. It's interesting. There's a fast food chain here called In and Out. I think there's a grocery store chain called that too. Yeah, I don't usually take a long time in the store. I usually have a plan what I need, but sometimes I forget to write them on the list. And then I see in the store like, oh shoot, I forgot to add matches. Okay, I'll grab those. Or oh shoot, I forgot to add, salt. Find the salt, but usually it's about it. Nothing big. Because normally when it's just me and Chris shopping, we bring home like 3 or 4 bags at a time. Yesterday, because we went to Walmart, which is a rarity for me, we ended up spending all this extra time walking around Walmart. When I went to Wendy's, I did not buy it. I bought a plain double cheeseburger and a vanilla frosty and 2 cups of Diet Coke, like I mentioned, with the soda fountain thing. It was kind of cool. And I've only seen another one like that in my life, and it's pretty neat. Now, by the way, let me give you a quick review of these headphones. They're kind of cute. I'm talking about these ones here. They're kind of cute, but there's a couple things about them I don't like. So I went ahead and I bought the other earphones I was talking about from eBay too, because those have 8-ohm speakers. This have 32-ohm speakers. These things lack volume. They're not very loud. And I think the reason was is they were figuring, well, we don't want people with normal hearing to go deaf. Gee, what if you're already deaf? I need volume, honey. Reducing the volume potential output coming out of my earpieces by 120 times is not exactly going to make it easier for me to hear things. So, also, I tried to use these with this desktop through OBS and do like a US about looping back the sound. In short, not going to happen because I tried it with these earphones to send the monitor sound back into the headphones. All I was getting was like clicky noises. When I would be speaking in the microphone, all I was getting was clicky noises. Like the headphone circuits couldn't figure out what to do. I can't give a what drug I'm on this week. Maybe pills. blue, purple, and yellow. How you doing, Rachel? I had to gain nearly 50 pounds for the green book. I ate a lot of that stuff. Yeah, well, I saw some, when I was like working on Walmart, I saw that there was this one woman that obviously was very, very large. And I could almost visualize, she's wearing this tight tank top. And it's like, you could see that clearly she was well fed. And I was like, wow. And then I look at my gut compared to hers. My gut seems small. But I noticed one thing about Walmart is, why don't you have anything in 4X, 3X, 4X, 5X? I can't find much bigger stuff in Walmart. I don't know why. Most of the clothes I saw were 1X, 2X, maybe 3 if you're lucky. But that's it. What do you do if you're bigger than that? I mean, I don't have fur like a cat like Rusty. I don't grow into my clothes, you know. You know what I'm saying, Monica?
I do, absolutely.
Walmart is missing a nice niche for larger people. Yeah.
There's a website or something called the People of Walmart, and they showcase some of the strangest people that shop at Walmart.
Yeah.
People that are twice the size of you, Michelle, wearing clothes that people the size of my daughters should be wearing. It's disgusting.
Well, you know, you're seeing people wearing tight clothes.
Tight clothes, and their fat rolls are hanging out, and yeah, it's disgusting.
Well, let me just show you guys something. I showed this yesterday, but since we're talking about Walmart, let me get the stuff I bought. I haven't put on yet. Oh, a minute. Let's get this. I'll show you something here. Oh, because eventually I'm going to be putting these tops on anyway, because it's...
Ow, what happened to your arm there, Michelle? Did you fall? Oh, she can't hear me.
Okay. I combed through Walmart trying to find clothing for fits my size. And I'm going to tell you straight out that I had the worst luck finding very much that I would call fashion. This is brand new, okay? This is $4.98, relaxed fit, made with 60% Pima cotton from a company called Time and True. But it's a size. This is a 3X. So this is what you can find for 3X. I mean, it's okay. I mean,
yeah, this is a woman's 3X.
That's a woman's 3X. Yep.
Yeah.
And well, I like white. I like white. Well, my white choices were pretty limited, even more so than anything else. So again, this is a 3X. This here, yeah. Make sure I get the right one here. I have another piece here. So yeah, this is not a 3X here. This is based on clothing size 22. All right. Again, same basic price. Now this stuff's pretty basic. Now the top I'm wearing now comes from Faded Glory, which was a line of products that they originally were carrying. Okay, and lastly, and for those people who like lines, I don't like lines, but I didn't have much of a choice. This is the same size, same manufacturer. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it'll do. I mean, I needed clothes, because especially when it's hot and you're soaking through and you're just sweating like ridiculously. So I bought these pieces, but I think I could have done better if I went through on eBay or went to a store that specializes in 3X and bigger, because I really think, but the problem is I didn't have a lot of money and I just wanted to get some clothes because I didn't have much else to wear except the same old, same old. So that's why I bought that. How you doing, Dingness?
He says he threw you a like, even though he doesn't always have time to watch.
That's
he always
okay.
throws you a like.
You're always welcome to watch the show, as reruns too, and that's why we do have them. And somebody asked me yesterday, they said, your ears have migrated. Well, it's funny, actually, I did tilt them back more than they were before because they were pointing straight up. So they're more tilted back, so they got more of a curve to them. So they'll show you the other camera I'm talking about here. Let me get over to that camera here.
Michelle, when you stood up, it looked like you had on your right arm there a scratch or scratches.
Yeah,
was that the kitty?
That's
or?
actually from a psoriasis I got.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's another thing I get. I got psoriasis too. Like I don't have enough problems going around with me, but
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
And then what happens is my niacin makes me itch, and then I scratch that, and then that makes it worse, and then it's like, yeah.
Michelle, Dankness says he hit 36 on his hunter, on his TBC hunter.
What's that? Oh, it's 36 hunter. Okay, 36? Yeah, he said. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, I gotta get back into World of Warcraft, TBC Classic, but right now I'm not going to be playing it probably until the weekend because the heat's going to be breaking from my area. In fact, let me go get Siri on and get Siri to give me the details of exactly what the weather is right now. So let's go get Siri up. What is the weather in Winston, Connecticut?
It's currently clear and 31 degrees in Winston, Connecticut.
And today is going to be high of 32. Wednesday is going to be high of 30. The temperature is going to slowly drop. The extended forecast. Friday, there'll be a big change. It'll be only 18 degrees. And it'll stay in the mid-20s for most of the time. Low 20s and mid-20s most of the time. But exception is next Tuesday, it'll be high at 27. But then the temperature will come back down again. Back to 24. So it's just
80 right now here.
Yeah, it's hot. 31. It's like it's like 90.
Yeah, don't you have to add 60?
Yeah.
To make it Fahrenheit or something?
So a good rule of thumb is, well, first of all, if you say 30 degrees, it's 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So then you just add, so if it says it's 31, it's 86, and then just add multiple 2 degrees for every 1 degree Celsius. Just a quick rule of thumb. It'll tell you that it's about 88 degrees.
So 28 equals 83. Okay.
So 28 plus 16 it'd be about 84. Is that right?
I think this was close.
Yeah. Gonna hit 27 here and say, oh, and you guys are not so used to it. Then what are you guys going to go back to your measurement systems? You guys going to go back to the old standards? You're going to stick with the new standards, or you're still not sure which ones you're going to be using for measurements in your country yet? How you doing, Bubba? It's a rain day, so I'm stuck in the yard doing maintenance. Okay. We got both measurements if they're doing the forecast. Yeah, the United States, you only show you the American numbers, and it drives me crazy because it's like I always have to constantly convert it in my head.
What do you mean by that question, Skynet?
Well, this kind of question is, would you ever consider?
I'd ask it, but
Oh, I don't think you want to know what that means.
okay, we'll just leave that one alone then. Okay. I just changed my temperature to Celsius. So next time I can tell you right now that it's 27 degrees Celsius where I am.
Which
Celsius.
isn't half bad. It's still a little bit hot for me, but I can still deal with it. So, I mean, when you start getting in this 25 and above is when I start to get crabby. The higher above that, like 32, 33, 34, forget it. I'm a basket case. Plus, I'm not used to that kind of heat. You know, I'm used to being in a cooler environment. And Ed Isme says, well, he says, you know, we could always move to Florida. Yeah, right. You gonna carry me in an ice bucket? I wouldn't be able to adapt to that kind of heat.
No, I don't like it either. I wear an industrial. It's called the big wet. I don't know. It's this big thing you wear around your neck. You get it wet with cold water and you just put it on your neck and it just keeps you cool.
Well, they actually make a whole suit for that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. In fact, Grave 3, that girl was actually reviewing a few different ways to keep yourself cool. And then I found out they have these full body suits. The difference is that they use circulating water. So obviously you got an ice pack on the back that circulates water through this suit, similar to what they do in the astronauts. On the EVAs, that's does the same thing, but it's more for people on Earth. So it circulates water and it keeps you cool. So
Yeah.
you can keep your body close to normal, like 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius core temperature. I mean, body temperature, outer body temperature. Because your core temperature still would be 37 degrees, but hey, 98.6 is good to have you here again. Try to say that in Celsius. Hey, 37 is good to have you here again, my baby.
I know that one.
Yeah, we played that song a couple weeks ago on the AM 1610 Silvermoon radio show. I don't know what a dangler is, but
yeah, he doesn't chase them. Just
chase anything that moves.
I know, but you don't want. But the danglers he's talking about, he doesn't chase.
No.
But anything else that dangles, yes, he probably does because he's a cat.
Yeah, he does. He does like to chase things that are hanging down or flapping in the wind. Loose thread, string, they'll get it.
Ed is her boyfriend, Vigo.
Yeah, Ed is my boyfriend. And I've been knowing Ed for over 25 years.
Yep.
We could have been married years ago. We never got married. But now that they're working on changing the marriage penalty and Social Security disability, maybe that might happen someday.
So they're going to, if you guys get married, Ed will lose his SSI because yours is more?
Yeah. You know, he says DI, he would lose part of it. It says I, he would lose all of it.
But he would probably still be able to get SSI then, right?
No, because he would be over income because they'd be going by a combined income.
Oh.
But if they go by the new policy, he might still be able to keep his because it would be, for him, it would be 1,341 because I'm already getting 1,337. So 1,300. Yeah, 1,334. Okay, but mine will go up a few bucks. With the new changes that they're proposing to Social Security to give people 125% of the U.S. poverty line.
Well, so then that makes me wonder, I'm probably not going to get any benefits because my husband makes $28 an hour. I'll probably just get help with medical.
Yeah, you probably would just get medical. So that probably would be certain exclusions. But if you did come up with $1,334 or $41, I'm sure your husband wouldn't mind that.
No,
Now, especially when you saw the price of how much groceries were up in the store. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I know. It's really ridiculous. It's scary.
It's scary. Ed sat there looking at sticker shock at the price of meat. I said, I warn you. He said, this stuff is ridiculously expensive.
My sister and I are thinking of going in on a cow. You go to a butcher and you buy a cow together, and it's cheaper, and you get a lot of meat.
It might be cheaper, but then you get to become such friends with your cow, and the next thing you know it, honey, I think we'll rather just go ahead and just raise it for milk.
Yeah, I don't like to think about that, Michelle. If I thought about that too much, I'd be vegetarian.
Because you can't get attached to your livestock after a while, especially since you raised them from a calf and then having to kill it and then clean it and process it. And
that's how my dad grew up.
Yeah, that's how your dad grew up. But, I'm sure even a couple animals in his childhood, he probably remembered that he wished he didn't have to deal with,
He
turning into meat.
Definitely did. He had one cow that he remembers very clearly.
Oh, lumber is nuts. Yeah, I know.
Oh, lumber went up too? Wow.
I'm
just not going to read her what you guys are talking about, because I just don't think that Ed is sitting there coaching her. I don't think Ed's making it cute, so that's why I'm not reading anything.
Scanna, I do read the chat. See, that's the problem. I'm trying to read the chat. You have to remember, I do have an eyesight issue. And at the same time, I'm trying to focus on a conversation with Monica or other panel mods. I have to try to jump between the two. And sometimes I miss people, and then I'll go back and read them a bit. Please don't act like Pop. Okay? Please don't act like Pop. We know Pop does the same thing.
He's just funning with you, Michelle.
Yeah.
But yes, Pop means it. Skynet doesn't mean it. Pop means it. Pop wants all your attention.
Yeah. I had someone give me some crypto back in 2014. Goat meat has gone up. Like Skunk Ape, how you doing? Where's Pop when I need him? Well, sometimes he can be a real. I haven't seen him in the chat lately, but
yeah.
Whenever he's on the phone, he's just drives everybody crazy. I think right now he's just trying to cope with his own issues in his own life right now.
Yeah, and Bulgaria's issues.
And personal issues, and reasons we've already covered. That he's living.
When he contacts us, we try to help him. But when he keeps asking questions he's already answered, then we tell him that.
Yeah. We need Jennifer back. Yes, I know.
I know. I miss Jennifer J. Does anybody know how to get in touch with her? Exactly, Skynet. I miss him too.
From that, you mean Pop or Jennifer J?
He's talking about Pop right now. He misses him too. And we worry about him when we don't hear from him.
One of the things he used to say to me is, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah." He says, "Can you hear me? I can hear you."
And why are you ignoring me, Michelle? Quit talking over me.
Yeah. Or come back and read what I said 15 lines ago. I'm like, shh. I know deep down he really wants to have people to talk to, which I understand that.
I think so.
He's a younger Scorpio guy, Sometimes he feels like he's being ignored, and he's not. Of course, I do admit sometimes in the show, it may seem like I'm ignoring you, but I'm not. I'll actually we'll watch the chats and replays and see if I missed any messages in the show, and I'll come back and address them in the next show, like if I remember to bring them up. That's just the way it works for me sometimes. Skynet,
I agree, Skynet. You just gotta know how to deal with him.
not now, but you're typing, so you're still talking. So we'll be on the phone on Saturday.
And they will be able to talk to you on Saturday, yes.
What's that?
They will be able to call in and
Saturday,
talk to you on
yeah.
Saturday. Yep. We'll see how that goes, and she might open it up to other days of the week.
Well, we
too,
don't have a problem. That's why we have the phone calls. But the problem is that when we have the panels, more people means more people at one time jumping in and all talking over each other, and then you can't understand a word they're saying. And then my brain gets overloaded and it shuts down on me. If you see that blank look in my face, you know exactly where I'm going.
Yep.
That's why I
You've got a good plan in
and
place.
the next thing you know, my mods are covering the whole conversation because I'm totally zoned out, not sure what to do. Yeah. Yeah, Puppy's like 19 now.
I think he's just young. He'll grow into it and learn things.
Not all the shows were like that, or act like they were.
No, we're not acting like they were all like that. She just is going to be more in control now.
Yeah, I just want to be more control because my employer, i.e. YouTube, wants me to be in control. They have those terms of service. You have to abide by those. And I know that sometimes that's a wet blanket for some people, but you can't help it. They're my employer. If they don't like it, I can hit the road and go elsewhere. Don't guarantee you're going to get the kind of money or revenue that you do with YouTube, though. That's just it. Notice the other sites that overpay me, like DLive, for example, and even the new one there, was it Odyssey, pays you in crypto. Notice it doesn't pay you in dollars and cents. So, and I don't even know how to do live streaming on Odyssey. I tried to figure that out, and I was like, I don't seem to have the chops to do a live stream on Odyssey. So I
haven't checked Odyssey out very much.
Yeah, I haven't checked out very much yet either.
We know, Skynet. You're just gonna have to bear with her while she's reformatting the night shows.
I am multiply disabled. I'm legally blind. I'm partially deaf. I have autistic spectrum disorder, aka Asperger's. I have a little bit of psoriasis. Which isn't really normally a big problem, but I do got it. And I have a knee injury from an accident.
It's partially deaf, legally blind.
Yep, registered blind. Yep. Using the UK term makes more sense. It's less confusing for some people.
Yeah.
Because saying legally blind, you always say, oh, that means you can't see at all. No, that's not what it means. But there is certain qualifications that make you legally blind. That's what I am. Yep. So people don't realize how close I have to get to the screen. So let me show you that. Why don't I keep turning this camera towards that wall? You can never see me. Oh, okay, here we go. So this is how close I have to read the screen. Now you can see that's pretty damn close.
She might sometimes concave, yes.
So when you read in the comments here, I agree, Trevor. Fantastic show. I'm enjoying myself. Thank you very much, Sankness. She doesn't wallow in it like other people, and she is a hermaphrodite, correct?
Skynet knows her very well.
And Angie says, okay, skunk, I'm no longer interested in Skynet, and she has 2 people that live inside of her. Right, that's true. And this is like her 4th life, 33rd life.
I love that last comment,
It's my
Skynet.
33rd life, not 4th. 33rd life. And this is like, okay. And she's part blood elf, as you can see. Actually, I don't know, because, like, if you listen to Sherry Jackson, she said that the ears are pretty much a natural. Actually, kind of seem natural to me because of the fact is that I probably do have these ears in my true form. I wouldn't know if I'm a blood elf, but definitely something.
No, Vigo, she
Vigo
is a female.
says, if you're
And no,
hermaphrodite,
I'm
does
not
that mean you
disrespecting
have
Skynet.
gay? If you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, it's one of those confusing things. I never really figured out how to best answer that. Because it just confuses me. But Lumi is more of a masculine person than me. I'm feminine. Lumi's more masculine. So that's why when Lumi gets involved and starts talking, you know the difference. Lumi doesn't take crap for nobody. No, I don't. I don't like crap. I am not disrespecting. I'm just being truth. I know that. Time to wash those ears. Honey, I wash those ears every day. Trust me. They get sweaty. Even though they're latex ears, they still get sweaty. They still get dirty. I know.
I've noticed that, Skynet.
Let me talk like a silly. Well, I can talk rough, but it's not normally my thing. I don't usually like to be disrespectful to Michelle on the show and talk nasty. I try to be respectful people. But if you push my buttons hard enough on my channel, you'll get it. You'll hear some really nasty words come out. Yeah. Looks like the air has a mole. Oh, I can't help that. That's the way they came out of the mold. Probably they may look like they have moles. Every ear latex ear is different. I have had from the same manufacturer. It's just something that I like the ears because you can see that they stick out. They stick up here, and actually
They're
are
making a
very
special
good.
mold for her, Skynet.
And they really are good for directional sound because when we were walking around the store, I was able to use my ears to find things. Or find Ed when he would get away, driving around his muck, or he'd be driving up another aisle, and I hear, meet, 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 meet. He's backing up, and I'm like, that's where he is. And I would just go follow the sound, and before I couldn't even trace the sounds. With the ears on, I can pick them up, pinpoint them pretty damn good. They also make my hearing very sensitive too. So what's supposed to be mostly for looks turns out to have medical uses too. I'm surprised that I explained that to the guy who makes the ears. I said, "You don't realize it, but from my hearing loss, these ears actually make it possible for me to hear better." And trust me, I'll take all the advantage I can get. It's true. She will take advantage of everything she can to hear better.
Yep.
And also, eventually, we're going to put it up another green screen so you'll be able to see more of the rest of the studio. Keep it with the scene, but that's something else for another day. We'll get some more green screens in the future. Someday, if we ever had the money, we'd go ahead. We'll make a huge screen room. The eye helps scan it. I always use my. Yeah.
He uses his third eye.
Yeah, he's talking about something that we're not going to talk about.
Yes.
Okay.
We're not
Anyway,
gonna
the
read
point
it.
is that I'm the third member downstairs. Yeah.
Yes. There you go, Lumi.
Yeah. So
I've been trying to get Lumi more involved. I love Lumi, and I hope Lumi talks more. That's why I told Michelle, let's have a Lumi afternoon show. Lumi's amazing.
The funny thing is this, though, was like, we talk about the third eye in mythology. Well, turns out that human beings actually, they say there's evidence to show that humans in the early evolutionary trend actually did have a third eye. A physical third eye between these two eyes over here. Michelle has the indentation for it. Maybe that's why I'm such a deep spiritual person, is maybe my third eye never totally disappeared on my face.
Could be.
See? Right there, you can see it. You can see it right here. That's what Michelle's pineal gland is. It's actually almost got a little indentation right there where there would be an actual opening.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's I see it a few other people, but not everybody has it. Not everybody has it. I have seen it a few other people, but it's not a very common thing anymore. I am definitely very spiritually tuned. This top needs to be washed. Well, I got new tops now, so I can put one on tomorrow. Yeah, we'll have to, because they get sweaty. They get really sweaty.
I agree, Charlotte. All parents need eyes in the back of their heads and little birds to tell them things.
Do you need a... No, I never had a tail. But I do agree with Sherry Jackson about these ears. In another lifetime, I may have had ears just like these. That's why it took them so well, because they were like... Sure, they're a pain to put on, but they're really not that bad. I mean, I sleep with these things on. I bathe with these things on. I wash my hair with them on. It's just has to take me a little longer to do it. Make sure not to take them off by mistake, because the glue does have to kind of get a little bit loose when it gets wet, because it's water soluble material. It's made by a company that's a prosthetic glue for prosthesis. It's called Prozaid. It's specifically for this purpose. We're putting on prosthetics, so you can take it off too. So that's what I've been using, and that works fine because I never had a problem with it.
Michelle,
what
do blood elves eat? Are they vegetarian?
I'm not really sure, because I can tell you that they certainly do hunting, and they certainly do fish. I don't know. I've heard people say that they just live on mana worms and things like that, mana crystals. I don't know if that's entirely true.
Skynet says they eat meat.
So yeah. So they do eat meat, but they're not like the Wood Elves, Elder Scrolls Online, the Bosmer. They're not carnivores, strict carnivores. They're omnivores. So they eat both meat and vegetables. But how come every time when I go into the look at the food supplies, it's always bread and water? Or if you go to the inns, you can get better food, but it's not much better than that, really. But then again, maybe the game decided not to cover better foods. But they do get money when they sell fish and stuff too. So ogres are cannibals, aren't they? I suspect that ogres would be cannibals. And, maybe some trolls too. Definitely the trolls. Maybe not so much in the World of Warcraft, but. And lead on the dreams. Works. Troll blood. Yeah. Anyway, so when are you ever going to try going on, try out the World of Warcraft? I know you said you have access to your computer now and then.
Yeah, I want to try it. I have it downloaded, but my daughter took the laptop again, so I'm going to ask her if she'll let me put it on her computer.
Yeah.
That way, when she takes my laptop, I can try and play. But I'm trying to decide the class I want now. If I want to do like a Frost Mage, or you know what I mean.
I like Frost Mage, but if you want to talk about the class that seems to have most of the gacha, if you want to be a warrior and still be a priest, you could be a paladin. That's kind of cool. You can still be a priest. You can still do holy healings and everything, good resurrections, but you'll also have the ability to yield a sword and shield, and you can still basically smash your enemies with physical weapons. If you're not into the carrying swords and shields, you want to just be a priest, that's fine, but you don't have the ability to carry a sword or shield or armor other than cloth.
All right, I was thinking, like Skynet says, anything that's not melee, people rely on you too much, and I'll be too new. Because melee, they have to hold the aggro so that the priests don't get hit as much.
And
At least that's how it was in EverQuest. You had to taunt and
right. Well, I
insult
definitely wouldn't want to recommend that you go into being a warrior, because if you're a warrior, you're going to be doing lots of melee. Trust me. Especially when you
Yeah.
get 3 or 4 mobs coming up on you at once. Now, if you're not familiar with dealing with the kind of mechanics of trying to keep those kind of crowd control, it's really hard. I'm playing a
a
paladin,
Jedi
and
option.
she gets mobbed every time. But because I have more experience doing that, you know, a shadow priest is a good way to start out, or even a mage. A mage can still get mobbed, but the one thing that the shadow priest has going for it is that they can resurrect and heal. A mage can't, but a mage can do can do portals, which can make a godsend as well.
Well, and I did play a melee in EverQuest, so I mean, it's not like I'm completely ignorant to how a tank works, but it's not a position I enjoyed. I enjoyed sitting back and slowing the mobs and mesmerizing the mobs and
right. So that's why maybe you like Shadow Priest.
yeah.
Because it's, usually you're a healer and you're also pretty much in the back of, in the raid or in the dungeons and the raids, you're behind everybody else. I mean, yeah, sure, you watch the back door, but other than that, with the mind flay and some of the other abilities, you can really kind of seriously clean out a dungeon pretty quick. And
Yep.
it seems like in modern retail, wow, it's like you got almost unlimited mana. This isn't truly true. It's not unlimited, but it seems like it. Because you can be throwing Mind Flay all day long and do lots of healings and heal yourselves.
Yep.
It's just a matter of timing it just right. So my personal experience is that as playing a paladin, it's kind of like being a combination of my warrior, like Vanya, and being like her sister. What's my sister's name? Oh my God, Cadieris. Well, because Cadieris, I believe, is a mage. Cadieris is a mage, not a priest. Whatever.
Oh.
The point is that it's kind of like combining the two things. It's like being a warrior and a priest combined. You're actually sitting there. You got the ability to do healing, like I said. You can also go ahead and you can use weapons. And I know Brian K likes hunters. Hunters are okay. Some people enjoy hunters. I'm sorry, but walking around with the equivalent of a Smith and Wesson doesn't exactly get my excitement up. I prefer if I'm going to get my hands dirty, I prefer hand to hand. That's what I like to go
So
for.
is the hunter the one that can make the prey its pet?
Yeah, you can make the prey its pet. Yeah, and I do like to be able to do that because I would like to have one of those spring pot lynxes as a pet. They kind of they're big cats, but they kind of remind me of Rusty. Big, big, big cat, lots of claws. I bet the lynx would be a really friendly pet too if you had him as a pet. I'd rather have a bow over a gun. Absolutely. It's more silent. Sure, you're still gonna run out. You're gonna still run out of arrows eventually, but you're gonna run out of bullets equally fast. Especially if you spray them around like a Chicago typewriter, you're definitely gonna be running out of bullets quick. Same is quick. I don't have to hear a gunshot every second. Also, it's funny going back to Naxorums. What's this? Naxorums. Bow and arrow or more traditional. Yeah. All right, now the funny thing is when you see some people play with what they call their blunderbusses, they actually have a mode in the game called automatic repeating, which is kind of stupid considering the fact that blunderbuss is a front loader. How in the hell are you going to be able to spray bullets with a front loader like that? Between putting in the shot, the powder, the shot, the packing, the wadding, they're just going to have to be firing like ridiculously fast to use a blunderbuss in any kind of semi-auto way. I don't even know how they could come up. It's not like a breech loader, like a 22 caliber. I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's completely. This is completely unrealistic.
So in World of Warcraft, they have guns.
Yes, they have guns.
Now are they just like?
They're like flintlocks. The blunderbuss.
Okay.
It's more of a flintlock type gun. So when you see hunters using it in the semi-auto mode, I first seriously wonder if they ever imagine trying to do that in real life. Honey, if you try to put gunpowder into a hot barrel of a gun, it's going to blow up. It's going to fire. And so if you're trying to you're trying to reload shot and powder and then put in your wadding into a hot barrel of a gun, it's going to catch fire and it's just going to go boom in your face. Not exactly what I call a fun way to fire. God.
No.
I mean, I would love to see a real person try to do that with a blunderbuss, but I don't think I've seen them. I've seen the real blunderbusses on Pawn Stars, and I don't even think I could imagine trying to do that in rapid succession. Okay. By the way, so the point is guys, is that we're having a good show. It's 12:03. I'm not going to the soup kitchen today. It's too hot. And, of course, we already have a full house, a refrigerator. And Ed was kind of a little bit upset yesterday because he was like, gee, we went for lunch at Wendy's, and now I'm not hungry for dinner. And I'm like, I understand that. And then he said, and then 3 in the morning, he was like, no, I'm starving. Okay, well, we can eat something light. Don't eat something heavy. Like he had a piece of cake for a snack. And I was like, okay. And so I might have some cake myself. I don't know. I'm really not hungry right now. I just had a bowl of cereal about 9 o'clock in the morning. So let's see how many people are still on here right now. I think it's oops. You just left that group, dummy. Go back to the meeting. 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 I can't believe I did that. Yeah, you did that. All right, join now. I'm sorry. I accidentally knocked you off there. Sorry about that, Monica. Are you there?
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no biggie.
So I went to check the other window. Right now we have 10 watchers, 11 watchers. We have 10 mics. We're doing pretty good today. And so
it was
I'm
a good show, and I love that you included the subject in the title. It was a good show.
What's that now?
I love that you included the subject of the they recommended you do.
Right. And what we're also going to try
to do. What are we
going
to talk about tomorrow?
Well, we talked briefly about time lapse. I guess tomorrow we can cover something about time lapse in more detail.
Okay.
Okay. I need to find if I can find some actual stories of that. I have to look. I know there have been a few different cases
Sharp
of
put one in the. Sharp put a video on one. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So the point is some new stuff. We're gonna try to come up with new stuff. If you guys have topics, post them in the general chat on Discord, and then I can look at them. Because the Discord is why Discord exists, so that we can communicate back and forth. In case of things that I didn't see or I said or whatever, that we can go back to Discord and go, oh, okay, I can clarify in more detail, in case some people had a misunderstanding. But right now, the truth is, guys, is we need to really seriously make up for the lost time. The 1 week, it really seriously took a whack to my kneecaps when you saw how much money we lost in 1 month. Because right now, at this point, let me get to the screen without nicking somebody offline here.
Well, I think that the super chat you got yesterday from Out on the Wire made up for a lot of that, Michelle. And if people just want to go watch the videos, that'll help a lot too.
Yeah. Well, right now, for example, Rusty just came in here. Right at this minute, we have coming in revenue at this point is $73.80. That's it.
Oh,
That means that's less than $100. So that means I'm not going to get paid this month.
yeah, we've got a couple more weeks still.
We got a couple more weeks.
So we can.
So, guys,
Yep,
the super chat is working. If you want to go ahead and put some money in, we can get this channel back up. Recommend this video to your friends, your family. Let's get the viewers up. Let's keep those up. Let's keep the subs up. You know, let's not let the baddies win. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
We are republishing old videos as they pass the terms of service test.
What's that?
We are republishing older videos as they pass the terms of service test I'm going through.
Uh-huh.
So there'll be more to watch that people haven't seen for a while. They might want to rewatch them. Like the one with the air raid sirens. That was so funny.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of the older movies don't get a lot of watch, especially the live streams, because they kind of, I don't know. They see the problem with live streams is that they're kind of like they kind of have a short shelf life. They don't really do well too much in replays. As you do a live stream, you're going to see that over a period of time, live streams have very short shelf lives. Yes, Rusty, I know.
Rusty wants to be in the show
again.
Hey, but I have to go. I've got errands to run today, and so I'm going to drop out and leave you guys for the day. But thank you all so much for joining, Michelle. And I will talk to you later on Discord, Michelle.
Now let's get the camera since he's facing this way. Yeah, let's see. Where is he? Yeah, there he is. I can't quite get him in the shot. There you go. That's Rusty. Yeah, you're a hard cat to get a picture of. You know that, right? Yeah, that would have been a good shot for a t-shirt right there. So, it's important to let you know that we're gonna keep working on new content. I did buy the other headphones I mentioned earlier, the other Bluetooth headphones. I'm gonna compare them with the Walmart ones because they're about the same price. So I want to see how the two compare. And I did buy that special anti-slip tape to see how that actually really compares, to see if the original person's complaint about the stuff being more slippery is really true. Because I want to know. I don't see how they can be more slippery, but even if it doesn't, I still get a nice little 4-inch roller I can use for things. A rubber roller so I can roll things flat. So, and of course, Monica left. So, everybody, I just want to say thank you very much for being here. Let me take a look at the questions real quick here. Rusty will be in the show. He's always in the show. Rusty's always here. Frame used to be here at the show before Rusty. And then when they were both younger, they were both on the show together. So you sometimes would have two cats climbing all over me, not just one. And he's an alpha male type. Yeah, he's definitely alpha male. He definitely likes to have the camera to himself. He likes to hog the camera every day. And definitely makes a great stream. And guys, I will see you all soon. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything unacceptable. Keep cool. The temperatures are going to be coming down, but it's still a little bit on the hot side. So keep cool. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., okay? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.